SwiftUI has forced us to reconsider how we do architecture in iOS projects. Crucially, the body gets redrawn in response to changes, and where you declare that state is very important. So if you were, for example, to put a model at this level and then pass the model all the way down to where it's needed, there may be consequences to doing that. And I just want to demonstrate that. So if you were to look at this project, which is actually the code that Apple gives you when you hit File New Project, it's simply a list, right? You hit the plus button, it stores an entry in core data, and then that entry appears in a list. I've moved the logic around a little bit, but it goes like this. You've got a content view, which is a records view, and it's got a view model, which is just a collection of items, right? You hit the plus button and it adds to the array. And then the row view is where you see that entry. Now I've got a timer here because I want the timer to fire and hit a counter, right? If we have private file counter, and the counter is simply this, right? The view then pays attention to that, and on appear, we fire the timer and increment the counter. If I run that, just to test that it works as expected, hit the plus button and you can see some sort of value now being updated in the view. Right, now if I were to do this in the profiler, so I'll stop that and we'll hit record in the profiler. When I hit the plus button, you'll see then these peaks for each time the timer fires. I'll stop that and zoom in, and we'll see that the body gets redrawn in our project 2 times for the row view over those 2 events. Exactly what you might expect, which is great. However, if we were to move that and position it up here, and then in content view, autocomplete can be so distracting, right? Counter, I've done private out of habit. We'll do the same thing here. Pass that through. And then in the records view, we have a row view, and it is going to have observed object. And then we pass that through. Is everyone happy? No. Okay, now if we hit the profiler now, hit record, hit plus, let it fire a few times, stop, zoom in, and we select 2 events. Go to our app and you'll see that all 4 bodies got redrawn twice, right? All 4 of them mine. So if you look at the top level, we're passing it through, and in content view, we're not actually touching it. We're just passing it through. Same goes for records view, we're just passing it through, and yet they all got redrawn, right? So you may miss out on that if you're not careful. Now, what's interesting is that if you use an environment object, so I'll remove it from there, and in content view, do the same, records view, do the same, row view then looks out for environment object. Everyone happy? Nope. Okay, if we hit the profiler now, and we hit record, hit the plus button. There it goes. Get a couple of readings. Hit stop. Zoom in. You'll see that in our target, we've got events happening in 2 locations now. The body gets redrawn in the row view and at this top level. So it's important to think about that, right? In the first demonstration, this was down in the row view, but now that it's up here, it's even still having an effect, even if we pass it through as an environment object. So it's worth bearing that in mind when you're architecting your SwiftUI projects.